there was a Smith's where the U-Haul is now. There's some kind of auto place up the corner that was a Circle K. Part of the reason they closed down. I was already convicted, did my time on that.
So you're allowed to talk about it.
What's
the statute of limitations on assault, by the way, in Arizona?
Oh, no, I have no idea.
Because I can't tell most of my stories because a lot of them involve assault.
Well, probably none. Yeah.
Just to clarify, I didn't rape anyone. It's always like me punching someone in the face or something. So it's
a bad thing to do.
It is. I'm not saying it is.
Violence is never the answer. That's what society tells me.
Yes.
That's what my
But when you're an angry young man dealing with other angry young men, sometimes things happen.
There's got to be a hierarchy. You're males. There's going to be a hierarchy established. There just freaking is. Like when we talk about, well, that's how we relate. Well, that's how you relate. This is how men relate. That's just how it freaking is right now. And if you don't like it, my answer is like Ron Paul or whatever about abortion. If you want to end abortion, make better people. It ain't the government's job, basically. What I mean, society's job.
It's a decent argument. Can you hand me that clear back? Yeah.
That was his response to, because he's a right-wing religious person, you know what I mean? And the right-wing religious people were like, you need to say this, you need to be anti-abortion, right? Oh,
some fruity shit.
That's right. That was like his answer to his own, what you would think his own base, because he doesn't care what his base is. He does what he thinks is right. You know what I mean? That's why I love Ron Paul. Because you know who he is. I would much rather have a politician
He's okay.
that I do not agree with.
I like him a lot more than his son.
And I can't stand his son at all. Because he's just he is absolutely everything his father was not. When his father said, I want to
He pretends to be his dad.
He pretends to be his dad right up to the last minute and he votes. That's exactly what he does. He's still riding on his dad's coattails and fucking that all up. Fucking up the family name, buddy. I didn't agree with most of what Ron Paul thought, but I believe that when he said he really believed that too, and he was willing to discuss it, and we could come to agreements like his idea and my idea that it ain't the government's business. You know what I mean? Let's stop talking about how the government should be interfering and say, shouldn't be doing it at all, ain't our business. You know what I mean? It's not, go away, stop bothering us. Basically, we don't talk about it no more. It's not our job. That's how I feel. That's why I like it. That's why I like Bernie Sanders. Stuff Bernie says, especially about gun control, that I'm like, oh no, Bernie, I'm gonna fight or die on that hill, Bernie. Me and you got some bigger disagreements there. So what we should do is concentrate on everything but that.
You know, living in a pro-gun state like Vermont, though, I feel like a lot of that is just lip service. I'm hoping, because I agree. I don't think any assault rifle ban is going to work.
I don't believe
it's not going to work here.
I say this, and I don't know. Do I get some like anarchist credit? I don't know. Am I like a Marxist? Anyway, anti-Marxist.
Please do. I'll post this on an anarchist group and dude, say whatever anarchist shit you like because I can post this shit on Reddit. They'll call me like some dem sock pussy, and you'll get massive points for being an anarchist. They're brutal, dude. Anarchists. They are brutal in their criticisms.
That's actually what I'm referring to is how, because I am not an anarchist. Like, when I say stuff, they're like, this pretend motherfucker. And it's like, no, this is what I believe, motherfucker. Don't tell me what an anarchist is, because I don't agree to yours. Because I don't believe, that's a title, that's a thing. I don't believe in any creed really so much attached to any of that, or any school of thought. I would have to say, and this is not me calling you an anarchist in any way, but within the Overton window of mainstream American politics, there are certainly a couple issues that I would say the criticism would maybe fit. This is the thing, I understand that we don't want that label in mainstream politics, but I think Donald Trump made that example.
Dude, at this point, if you can be a fucking neo-Nazi walking in the streets, and people are afraid to say you're a neo-Nazi, fly your fucking freak. We all need to fly our freak flags. Fly them freak flags all over the place. Because otherwise it's all going to be dominated by fucking Trumpies. And, oh.
I might be high.
You okay, buddy? Shut up!
Oh yeah, I want to get back to that story. Anyway,
Get some that Leon Lush money.
I want to get my credit for that tattoo.
Used to be a sailor and the... Oh, that's anarchy. I didn't know that.
I got that tattoo, original tattoo.
You can't see it. You need to... Here. Hold on. I'll come to you.
So anyway, the original here, see the circle that's kind of dark?
Oh.
The original. That was done with toothpaste and pencil lead and a staple in juvenile department and Catalina Mountain right up the street. Right? So I did that. That was retarded. It was supposed to be a circle, and there's supposed to be like you can't really tell down there. There's a piece that was an apostrophe outside the original circle that's been incorporated in. S, because my nickname was Circles. And then that was a terrible idea. So then I got to prison, and his kid Elton, who I knew when he was before prison, we went to high school together at Saguaro. And he was a wannabe tattooed artist because I let me practice on you. So he's like, "We'll change this. What are you into?" And I was like, "I want it to be a chaos symbol because that's my thing. That's my thing. That's what I believe in fundamentally."
Loki's your spirit god?
No, not Loki. No, absolutely not. Nope. Got no totem. I got no totem except my own self-created, who's an ego that I call Azure. And he's in Dungeons and Dragons.
I think right now we've achieved the perfect camera angle.
He is a character in Dungeons and Dragons that I play. He's a wizard. He is chaotic, neutral, with good tendencies.
So he's like a benevolent, chaotic magician of sorts.
He is all the fear.
Benevolence, the good one, right?
Yes.
Yes.
You take all the fear about this run, take an ultra powerful, this is the thing in the D&D campaign, and this really became my alter ego, and I use this as a guide when I think of chaotic, like he is my idealized, that's what a hard, like you imagine a hardcore Randian or something like that, or what's the Lebanese guy or Beirut, whatever. Fuck, I don't know. We'll get back to that. Or like if you take one of these schools of thought hardcore and you're an adherent to that, and you're like, well, this that. Like I think if this is the school of thought, he is the perfect embodiment. And I'm like, I don't want to be that, but I want to be kind of that with the good angle. Don't be the absolute nightmare terror of this upstart wizard who rocks like, you know, the multiverse and invokes a war, like a tripart war of demons invading the material plane to get, like all kinds of, like he's the center of this web of this insane anarchy. Like he weaves this web of insane anarchy and overreach for this human sorcerer that comes from where? What the fuck's this story? You're like, holy shit, that's crazy as fuck, right? Like, that's where he came from. He used to be a female who pretended to be a male knight, right? You know, like the story was, he lost his lands as the female, and this was before long. Had family armor pieces that she assembled to pretend to be a dude to keep representing the family title. Because the whole family had been wiped out, the household, all that, but he still had title to that land. You know what I mean? And then we took that. We completely abandoned that, became an illusionist, because that kind of naturally, she dealt in illusion and deception kind of, and came from a chaotic, good society that teamed like a barbarian, not a barbarian, more like Iroquois or Scythian, like united kind of culture type structure. Anyway, and got into illusion, and then got a curse and was turned into a man, an opposite. Was at the time chaotic good, and got a reverse curse, turned into a man, I ended up choosing because it was an argument over what's exactly different from chaotic good, blah, blah, blah. Just chaotic neutral went in the argument and the debate all during the campaign, and they could see the party always divided in different ways of, no, Azure is acting chaotic evil. No, Azure is acting chaotic good. Or Azure, no, Azure is crazy. Because a lot of people said, no, Azure is just crazy. You know what I mean? He's just crazy. He's chaotic neutral, crazy. Not chaotic neutral as a theoretical decision or moral or philosophical choice of follow. No. He's just crazy. Right? And people don't understand. Like, people that know Azure from the beginning, like, no, he's really crazy. But you can't ignore him because he's crazy fucking powerful. Like, none of us can comprehend what the fuck he's doing. Like, because we are so...
Well, hasn't that always been sort of associated with chaos?
Absolutely. Because he has tapped, like, his...
Not saying that that's a factual thing. I don't want any mental illness advocates. But just generally, in the philosophical...
See, it all comes down to zeros and ones, yes and no. What's your base answer? Does law come from chaos, or does chaos come from law?
I would say the first one myself.
What do you say? What proclaim you?
I thought it was more of one of those things that is more like the first thing that comes to your mind. But
well, all the mythologies is first there's chaos and then somebody imposes the law, right?
Yeah, that's generally
So
how I
from
understand
chaos
it.
comes law. But how do you feel about it philosophically? Does that work for you? Because my decision and why I worship chaos is chaos comes from law. The more perfection you get, the more perfection, the more uniformity, the more entropic and non-mobile and stagnant and uniform and in perfect harmony the universe gets. In other words, the very few ripples that actually exist in all the multi-universes as all the creation finally dies in entropy. I don't like that idea so much. People think that's the end. I'm like, no, that's how the Big Bang starts. Because once you have perfect and absolute harmony, right? Well, you believe that's the end state, and I believe that's the only way you can get to chaos. Because you can't have chaos unless you have laws. So if you have absolute laws for everything, there has to be, by the very laws of the idea that there is no time, all time is infinite, so every possibility that has to be explored or can't exist, because the minute that I imagine a number exists, that number now exists somewhere in the universe because I've branched into a multiverse where that number, you know what I mean? Like, so there's somewhere, I made that. I'm a God. I am an unconscious God. But your consciousness makes you able to make ripples through time.
So it's hard to argue with the vastness of the universe on this one. But to play like devil's advocate here, I mean, wouldn't the absence of laws itself, isn't that the definition of chaos in a way?
That's how you see it. You see it as an absence of laws.
I'm not a genius, sir. I'm just saying that's my gut.
But that's why I see chaos as the will. It's like it's a yin and yang. Do you see?
So this is
see the yin as the will?
So that's sort of
fertility, or the yang.
You have me at a disadvantage on this one.
I'm saying,
yeah,
there are two basic concepts, right? The male and the female. Where does fertility come from? From the male or the female? I believe it comes...
I would say both.
Well, that's a sellout, I think. I think it is, in the end, that's what...
Need two to tango, my friend.
Science wants there to be perfect.
Yeah.
I can't, like...
Isn't it a two-part process?
Isn't entropy really just, like, isn't perfect entropy, like the deep depth of the universe, like, isn't that really just the perfect harmonization of all waves through all of possible creation? Like, isn't that what it is, the fucking dying, like, isn't that really what it is? Like,
that's awesome.
Like,
that's so out of my depth.
that's how I conceptualize it, like that.
All right, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Well, see, I think he'd be like, I don't agree. Actually. But that's how I can kind of conceptualize analyze it and visualize it. You know what I mean? Of what is that? How is that mechanism going? You know what I mean? It seemed like it would, perfect harmonization would happen because all the waves flatten out. So it's perfect harmonization in nothing, into a null field, right?
See,
Like in Dune shit. Boom, and then all possibilities spring out.
yeah, I mean, I think that's a valid argument, but I also feel there is a value to law and regulation. I don't think you should have too many laws or too many regulations because then it pisses people off, and then there's uprisings and et cetera, et cetera. If it does more harm than good, then you shouldn't do it. That's more or less my philosophy towards it.
I fundamentally believe that the more random and crazy and conscious directed your actions are, the more kind of ripples you create that keep the ripples going. You keep adding ripples and unexpected patterns in the structure of the like fundamentally, like in that sense, you are God. You have no idea what you're doing or where it's going, or like it's some Paul shit for Atreides. Do you know that? Do you know Paul Atreides and Dune? If not, we need to Google that and learn. We need to educate. We need to spread the word.
movie Dune?
No, hell, no. Paul Atreides in the original Dune books. Do you know about him? Wiki that. Wiki.
I am a ignorant butthole, but let's get on this. I'm
Do it.
vaguely aware of Dune, but we're gonna get into it. Give me one moment.
Oh, my bad.